So we have a look at what this is spinning behind us in the background here.
Okay.
So what is this product, Andrew? What is we looking at?
This is a 7-inch HMI PLC. Now, in the early days, the Unitronics would call that an OPLC, an operator and a programmable logic controller. So inside we've got a gasket. The gasket goes round the door to give you your IP rating. It will only give you your IP rating if you tighten the screws up to the correct torque. You don't need a torque wrench, but don't over tighten them. I've had 1 or 2 people recently over tighten the screws. Tom's got the screws there, the little clamps, and there's a power connection there. So you use those clamps to connect it through the cutout, but don't over tighten them, please. You know, I know sometimes you think it's going to be increase the sealing properties. It doesn't.
But you do have quite a high IP rating on this when it's installed.
Yeah, it's an IP65 when put in a suitable.
I was going to put you on the spot there and ask you what the IP rating was, but I wasn't sure that you knew exactly what it was.
So that's a 7-inch widescreen, as you can see, and this has Ethernet built in. So if Tom shows the side there, you can see the Ethernet port. There's also an expansion port.
The Ethernet port's actually on the other side.
Okay, you can tell it's the Ethernet port because it's got the LEDs on there, so you can see those flashes.
Well, it actually, in the printing of the plastic, it's got Ethernet written straight on the side. You've got SD card that can go in there as well. On the other side, you've got a normal serial programming port, which can be 232 or 485. And then you've got expansion for more DIN rail mounted I/O, the USB port for programming, and then the power, which obviously goes with the power terminal that comes in the box. You then got a bit of a blank space on the back of it here. A lovely, easy install of the communication modules underneath this door. And you can also change the battery and everything from this little door on the back. But if you know your PLCs, you might know that there's something missing straight away from this product.
There's no inputs and outputs.
There's no inputs and outputs. So if you want to physically connect this to something, there's a couple of ways that you can do that. I've got one that I made earlier, a bit of a Blue Peter special here. We've got snap-in I/O, which actually snaps into the back of the PLC. It means you can choose what inputs and outputs that you want, and this is a modular system, so it allows you to just add which I/O that you need. If you need a couple of analog inputs, then you can have one module. If you don't need any analog inputs, it means you can save some money on your project.
There's 8 different snap-in cards. The most popular one I'll tell you now is the E3XB.
Yeah.
So if you have a look at that, V700-T20BJ-N E3XB, and that is by far the most popular one with our customers.
And these just snap directly onto the back of the PLC. So it's like having the I/O built into the actual PLC itself, and they just quite easily snap onto the back there. And now it's part of the system. And like I say, it's quite modular, so if you need to change it from one project to another, you've got the option there to have it all built in, PLC, HMI, and the inputs and outputs all in one block there available to you. Have I not snapped that in properly?
Yeah, it is. And it's nice to note as well, these are all plug-in connectors, so that can reduce your wiring time. In terms of being a panel builder, you can wire up to the terminals and then only buy the expensive bit off us when the machine's ready to ship, and that can reduce your costs. There's a bag of terminals. If you lose the terminals, give us a shout. If you lose the gaskets, we've normally got them in stock. You know, we've got so many customers using these. We've normally got terminals and we can get those to you. We might ask you for the postage if you haven't brought the office. Well, I've had 1 or 2 people come and buy terminals and gaskets off us and they've not brought anything. So, you know, give us the postage at least in those cases.
But if you're in trouble, we're here to help you, and that's what we do here, as simple as that.
So one of the dilemmas with this is, as you can see, there's quite a lot of terminals here, quite a lot of wiring. This becomes quite heavy. And now, traditionally, the HMI, the operator interface, is put on the door of the machine. You put all the wiring, you have a big wiring loom on the back of this, it becomes heavy, and people then go away from it and they're not very keen to actually connect to it. So you can have DIN rail mounted I/O.
Yeah, so this can literally just be attached to your DIN rail, and what there is there's an expansion port in the side of the PLC. You can just connect it up. It looks very much like an Ethernet port. It is an RJ45 connection, but you cannot use standard Ethernet cable. That goes into one side, and then the other side will go into your adapter. It don't have an adapter.
Don't have an adapter here.
There's an adapter. So plug it into the adapter, and that allows you to then communicate to the device, which DIN
So
rail
you can have
mounted.
up to 8 modules on the DIN rail.
Yep.
They have to be connected horizontally next to each other. Just a word of warning, because of the ribbon cable. Tom will show you the ribbon cable quickly. They need to be butted up next to each other. So don't leave yourself enough panel space when you do that. But that gives you a 7-inch PLC, as we said, built-in Ethernet, snap-in I/O, and it gives you a really nice compact PLC and HMI.
And the DIN rail mounted I/O can be up to 30 metres away from the PLC as well.
And you can have both.
Yes, of course, yeah.
But you could also have Ethernet I/O.
Yeah, Ethernet I/O link can be added on there, so you've got options available to you.
CAN bus.
CAN bus, you've got CAN bus that you can add onto the machine. You can add any serial communications on there if you need to add more serial ports, and any device that you connect to over Modbus or anything like that.
So that gives you quite a few options, doesn't it, really,
Yeah,
in
for
terms
sure.
of just connecting to it.
Yeah.
And the I/O, we've got loads of ways of connecting. In terms of the program, when we go to those different options, are they drop-down boxes that you configure, or do you have to program to make the I/O link work?
Well, it's for the I/O link, it works over Modbus. To be fair, the I/O link won't work with that because that's Ethernet IP. So
Okay.
I mentioned I/O link, but I/O link won't work with that device. That's more on the Unilogic system. But with the Ethernet I/O, you can configure that. I've got a guide on how to configure that inside your project. And with the native I/O for the DIMM rail mounted or the snapping I/O that goes on the back, yes, that's just a drag and drop.
And use the same I/O with the CAN bus, don't you? If you can
Yes.
expand on CAN bus, so it's the same modules.
Yes, exactly that. Yeah, so you've got more options available to you for the connection.
Okay, so that was the V700, the 7-inch, what we call the widescreen. It is pretty much the same price as the 5.7, the V500, but it has Ethernet built in. It is slightly expensive. I think it's less than £10 more, but it makes it great value for money in terms of upgrading.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that's
really.
and if you want to see other products, you'd like us to unbox them and show them to you, please give us a shout. Make a note in the comments, contact us, and we'll give you some more products.
Yeah, well, using your feedback that we got last week, we've got some really good video ideas from everybody that's been tuning in. So we're going to be doing more tutorials